I wanted to explain how I made the design for this adorable house tissue box cover. I had it printed on fabric at Spoonflower, and I wanted to show you how I did all of that. Now, I'm not a very technical person. I don't like doing any graphics on the computer, so this is how I did it. I first did my design on graph paper to make it accurate at half the size. It's half the size. And I transferred it onto a piece of watercolor paper. Now, I'm going to use these Tombow pens that are like watercolor pens to do all the coloring. So I start out first by doing the hardest part, which for me is the more technical part that needs to be really straight. So I outline all of the windows and the door with this darker marker first, and then I'm going to use a lighter marker. It's a lighter brown for some of the details on the windows. After I do that, I'm going to start on the roof. I make the roof a scalloped design. So I use two colors for all the browns. I use the lighter brown, which is what I'm using right now, and then I use the darker brown to create the shading. So I make all these scallops, and I drew some lines in so that I would keep those rows straight. So at first I draw in the scallops, and then I color them in with a lighter brown. Once I color those in, I'm going to outline the scallops with a darker brown, and then I'm going to use my watercolor brush to blend all of that color together. Now, the reason that I do this at 50% is, first of all, I don't have a scanner that's bigger than 8.5 by 11, but Spoonflower prints fabric. The default setting, which you can change, but the default setting is 150 dots per inch. I do my artwork at half the size, 50%. Then when I scan it as a JPEG on my printer, and I scan it at 300 dots per inch. When I upload that design into Spoonflower, it automatically enlarges to twice the size, so that instead of 300 dots per inch, there will be 150 dots per inch. That's just because it's the default setting of Spoonflower. So you can always change that setting, but it worked perfectly for this because I could do the artwork at 50%. And then when I scanned it in and sent it to Spoonflower, it just got blown up to 200% automatically. And I was so happy with the way the colors came out and the way all the detail came out. I wasn't sure how it would come out, but everything came out great. And in fact, the image didn't get distorted at all. So now I'm putting in all the brown, the lighter brown, and I'm using my brush to do a little blending. And for the door, I do the same thing. The watercolor just works really, really nicely. You just kind of run the brush over it, and you don't really have to do much. It just looks great when you wet it. So next, I'm going to put in the grass, and I'm using regular watercolors for that. I have a little palette that I have my watercolors in, and I'm just using a nice green for that, just because it was so easy. I use the markers on the window and on the roof because I need a definite line, but for the grass, I just need it to fill in a shape. So now I do use the pen for the house because I like the red and it covers very evenly. So this is the chimney. This is the little chimney that I'm doing the artwork here. And I'm actually going to turn this into a printed panel that I'm going to sell on my Etsy shop. And I'm going to write the directions right on the panel. So that's what this is going to be. So this is a chimney. I'm making a little brick type design on there. And I'm really happy with the way all of this looks so far. I filled in the windows with a light blue color. And now, ta-da! For the finishing touches, I'm going to outline in red the house because I'm going to make the house red. So I'm outlining it first, and then I'm going to go around all the windows with my red so that I don't have to worry about getting too close to the lines. I'm just going to outline all of that with my brush tip. That's the other thing I love about these pens is they have a brush tip and a fine point. And then once I do all the outlining, I can just relax and fill in the whole darn thing with this red. And I love the red of this. Now, this is a solid shape and I could have used paints for it, but I wanted it to be a very even cover. And so I used the pen instead of watercolors because I didn't want it to be modeled. I wanted it to be very, very precise and clean. And voila, it's finished. And then I just send it off to Spoonflower and wait for them to send it to me. So good luck.